Okay, so welcome back to the message from the ancestors, part two. Apparently, they weren't done. Um, they wanted me to do a little spread so you could get to know their story a little bit more. I think through understanding their story, you can understand a little bit of yours and what you come from, and maybe some of the emotions you may experience from time to time. Those of you that are just stumbling upon this video and aren't familiar with me, I'm Amina Hextall, and this is Get Into It with Amina, the message. This message comes from the ancestors, specifically in this channeling. It was two ancestors who were enslaved, coming from West Africa, Nigeria. I'm getting for one, Ghana for the other, and yeah, so let's get started. And these two specific ancestors were taken from the door of no return in on Gorée Island in Dakar, Senegal, which is why I have this lava stone here. This comes from the shores of Gorée Island. Okay, so let's get started. On this side is the masculine energy, it's the man. If you heard part one, you know that his name by birth is Ade. However, upon being enslaved, his name became John. And then over here is the feminine energy, um, who is known as Jessie. She doesn't have any recollection of her African name. Well, she was born enslaved. But her story is interesting because she was born on the way to being enslaved. So she may have been given an African name, but she was so little, the only name she knows is the one that her captives called her. And her story is very interesting. Very interesting. I haven't finished channeling everything that she has to say. In fact, you know what? I'm mistaken. I just recorded the Star Ancestors message. I didn't do the ancestors. So actually, I can read John's story now. I can read his channeling. So actually, if you're just joining me here, there is no part one that's going to be posted because I'm gonna just read John now. Okay. So before I started the channeling, um, I was watching something on TV, and it kind of sparked this to happen. Uh, and I just started reflecting with enslaved African ancestors, not by choice. Um, it just started to come through. So, turn that down some. So here we go. So my first thoughts were, can you imagine never seeing family or home again? And I want to pause there because I really want you to stop what you're doing and really think about how it would feel to be taken from where you are right now. Somebody ran up in your house or your job and they snatched you up, chained you up, and started dragging you away on foot for miles. You don't know where you're going. You've never seen these kind of people before. Just sit in that energy for a minute. Sit in the energy of being a masculine energy, feeling helpless, watching your family being beaten, chained, taken from you. Some didn't even make it into the chains. And you could do nothing. Unless you wanted to die too. Which some made that choice. But then if everyone did, we wouldn't be here today, right? Think about how it would feel if all you know and love is just gone. Go there to that feeling. Okay? Now I'm gonna read what John or Ade said to me. Alrighty. Maybe you feel angry, lost in this world. A tree with no connection, its roots, no connection to its roots. A tree with no connection to its roots can't grow, they say. But what if you remember? What if your roots call to you? Even replanted with new soil and new roots growing, you never feel home. You feel weak because you cannot control what's happening to you or your loved ones. You don't have no idea what will happen to them. As time goes by, you begin to get an idea of all the possibilities. My message is easy. I don't talk much. Until we can all return home, and I mean black people, we will not be whole. My name was Ade, my father's name. The name I became was John. John missed his mama. He wished his Baba would gather the warriors and come for him, but John knew they would never come. Ade. Ade always held on to the dream. That's what home became. The dream. Oh, how I held the dream in my heart so deep. So deep our children feel it. Today you feel it. That longing for the dream. Now you can hold it, touch it, taste it. Don't fight the call. Go home. Learn the ways. Embrace the language. Love the land, the people. It is you. Make the Africans remember as their traditions are fading. That is all. Ashe. Ashe. Multiply. Okay. My son really got loud during John's read. Now I did start Jesse's, but I did not finish. I only got as far as to the fact that she was born on the way to the big, and then I kind of stopped there because her energy was so intense. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go there yet. It's still early in the day, and who won't be walking around depressed. But I did start letting her talk a little, and she does have, she comes through speaking with a southern accent. I'm going to just read what I have. If she feels to come through with more later, I'll of course come back and add more. all of this work I'm doing is so that you can be inspired to retrace your history, retrace your roots, go back and research your the cultures. Um, yeah. Okay. So here we go. May I talk how I know this language here? I can talk their talk, but that's not how we talk around each other. To my point, there must be a mending between the man energies and the womb energies. I be called Jesse, and I was born on the way to the big. And here as she fades, but it was like she was gonna say the big box. That she saw it as a box, not because she didn't know it was a boat. She came, of course, she grew up knowing that she came over on a boat. She did learn that. She learned what a boat was. But to her, it was a box, like a big coffin. That's what I see. And she swears that even as a baby, she could feel the misery and she can remember things. And she said nobody ever believed her, but she could remember being on that boat. She was told when she was born the captives wanted to kill her, but keep her mama because they knew her mama was fertile. However, on Jesse's trek or journey to the big box, as she calls it, these captives had captured a nice little group of warriors. They didn't know that they had what they had. They thought they were just spoils of war, just given to them. But they didn't know these were captives already, warriors captured from a war between tribes. And the warriors rose up and would not let them kill her. This is the story she was told growing up by her captive. Well, the one who bought her from the captive, from the initial captive. Or captor, whatever you want to call the damn idiots. That's to be light. Um, she was told these warriors rose up and protected her with their chains on, still threatened these men so fiercely. And they couldn't understand what they were saying, but they could tell by their facial expressions and their body gestures what they meant. And they let that baby be, and they said they would not feed it, and they wasn't gonna help take care of it. If it died, it died. And she lived off her mama's breast all the way till she got to the land again. And then she didn't see her mom anymore. At least she doesn't remember. She says her mom is like a dream. At least when she's speaking on when she was in the physical, her mom was like a dream, that she could remember her, but not the details of the departure. she does know that she was old enough to talk and walk. She's showing me maybe 3 or 4 years old when they were split up. Let me go to the cards. Okay. So over here, start with Ade. Ade is coming up first in the 5th house of passion, creativity, Leo energy. House of pleasure, of children, recreation, leisure, fun. Ade was an artist. Ade was a drummer. Ade was creative. Maybe even painted sometimes. And they captured Ade with the heart reversed. It means being displaced, not home, stuck somewhere, enslaved, like trapped somewhere, not like home. Far from home, feeling your fire going out, your passion. And here we have Chiron reversed, which is to heal. Reversed, it's like always thinking back, remembering, unable to heal, unable to let go of an experience, which all fits right in with his story. Then we have here Jesse. Pallas Athena, think. Jesse's initial energy is very powerful, very strong, very fighting, a very tough and fighting spirit. Jesse did a lot. Had a very, very rough life, but did a lot for a lot of others that were enslaved. With retrograde, this is where it gets very heartbreaking. Review. Jessie always tried to run home. She was always trying to go backwards, always trying to go back, always trying to find her way back. Even when she got to freedom, even when she would help others to freedom, it wasn't home. She was always trying to find her way back. And they would always scoff at her and laugh at her and say, your feet barely touched the soil of the continent. You was but a newborn just breathing the air. All you know is the air of that big box and the air of this wretched country we were dragged to. But she would always tell them, no, I know the way home. I know this isn't it. I know home. And she would always try to get there. Square / semi-square / quincunx? I don't know if I'm reading that right. Quincunx. Well, it means tension. And this is because she always fought. She had a very hard life. She worked the fields. She worked in that house too, against her will. She had children that she barely got to hold. She got many lashings because she always ran and she was very smart and she always spoke up. Bottom of the deck energy that you don't see is the discomfort, debilitated. Speaks for herself. It's about being somewhere unfamiliar, somewhere you ain't never been before, someplace strange, large and vast, and just not feeling comfortable, not knowing which way to go, not knowing how to find that peace of mind, but somehow finding it. With the 12th house being the card that joins them, introspection. It's about realizing that we're all connected. It's about having a similar story, but different paths that created it. It's about a sacrifice and then healing, rehabilitating. The 12th house is the house of Pisces as well. It's about forgiving, healing, releasing, retreating, but it can also be about connecting on a common experience, a common level, common story. And this is where they connected. Somewhere along their journeys, their paths crossed. I'm going to go to some tarot. How did your paths cross? And how can your story help us now? I know John's story is for us to understand that we do need our roots. We do need to return home. Everyone, at some point or another, needs to go back to their native land. You need your roots. Now, Jesse's message, I feel, is about the connection between woman and man. And how, because she comes with a very masculine energy, and she stresses the fact that a lot of her lashings, a lot of her punishments were due to the fact that men felt challenged by her. And she feels that a lot of that exists now. And there's a need for a healing, an understanding of each other's journeys. Understand why I'm so strong, why my masculine energy sometimes rises up and dominates. And then understand here why my masculine energy feels threatened by that. I'm disconnected from my roots. I was disconnected. I didn't have my warriors to guard me. I didn't have my mom to show me love. And I didn't have my dad there to protect me. And what I saw of men were they were protectors. But then when it came time to protect, I wasn't protected. And then when it came time for me to protect, I couldn't protect. So understand why your masculine energy may threaten mine, where mine has been wounded. And then understand where my masculine energy feels it has to protect me in regards to a similar experience. And that's where this introspection needs to take place, is what I'm getting. Wow. Okay. So how did you guys come together? You were brought together to mate. Does not look like there was an initial attraction. And it looks like she was very cold when it was first brought to her attention. Maybe John was up for it, but she was not. She's very intuitive. He tried to come in and be a little bit of a player vibe, like apparently, I'm gonna call him Ade. Apparently Ade was often used to impregnate. She was not from the same compound, Jessie. She was already suspicious and very intuitive, and she could read. And she knew something was going to come, something was happening. She also had a thing for, or a situationship with the master. Who would pour out a lot of his love. He would actually pour emotions into her, but didn't hesitate to come at her the same as any other slaves or enslaved being. With the Queen of Swords here reversed, I'm getting two energies that the enslaver's wife wasn't too fond of this love he had for her. And I'm also getting that when Ade tried to come towards Jesse, she was very like, fuck out of here. Alright. Yeah, she knew that wasn't no real love. She knew that this was just like always. Same thing she'd always been going through. Master just trying to make money off her children. Master would much rather be with her. This is all really interesting. And what are we to learn from this? What happened that ties this all together? John felt helpless in this situation, stuck. Trying to see it from another perspective, trying to understand why she was fighting, why she would stand her ground against him. Eventually she wasn't allowed to get any rest until she did what had to be done, and he didn't understand. That's what he wasn't seeing, was that she was really being tortured. She was already married. She already had someone. With this marriage, this foundation here reversed, and this was the problem. She didn't want to be used to help Master have more babies to enslave. She wanted to be in her marriage, and if she had children, it was her choice. John did like her though. I did. He did want to keep her. He did want to be with her. So did her master. While she was in a very weird predicament. She knew her power, but she had no power. It's like Queen of Wands. She had this power, this beauty was her power, and her inner strength. But she was being held onto and held down because of her worth. So I'm getting masculine energies carry the burden of not being able to have been a protector, not being able to have been able to understand what the woman was experiencing, because they were too stuck in their burdens, feeling like they had the weight of the world on them, feeling as if there was no God, they had no hope, no faith. They felt like their women had rejected them. There was nothing else in life, really. Their manhood had been taken away. Yeah. They felt like their women, their counterparts, had been taken. Not realizing there was still connection, always. And that's what they want us to recognize now. Bottom of the deck energy, Judgment Day. We are being judged. Our karma, all of this past, everybody. It's time to right the wrongs of those that were before us. And that's the overall message I'm getting. It's time to make a choice. God is watching. The ancestors are watching. We are the dreams and the hopes of the slaves, of the enslaved. Thank you for listening to this message. The ancestors so appreciate your time. Sending out lots of love and light to everybody. I want to thank the ancestors for coming through. Mojupwe, Mojubaye Baye, Baba, Mojubaye Baye. Yeah. Peace and blessings to everybody and all that good stuff that comes from being a part of my tribe.